Have you ever heard the term the aggregation of marginal gains? I had neither until I read a story about the British cycling team's win of the Tour de France. You see, they had never ever won the Tour de France before 2010, and they were challenged to do this, and they had a new coach, David Brailsford. And David said, you know what, we're going to take a look at every single thing we're doing as a team. We're going to look at everything, even the smallest things, and we're going to see if we can tweak it, so we can improve it, to see if it has an impact on our performance level. So they looked at, of course, the typical things you would look at, the diet, the exercise, but then they started looking at everything. They looked at the pillows they were sleeping on, what time exactly they went to sleep, what time they woke up, right? They started looking at their routines in terms of how they train together, not just what they're training, but how they're doing it, when they're starting the training routine, when they're stopping it. They're looking at every single aspect of their overall system when they're training this team. And guess what? What they figured out was that if they just had a 1% increase in any area of efficiency to help these athletes perform just 1% better, that aggregation of marginal gains would create wins when you have split seconds between winning and losing. Every single thing that they did to improve performance matters, right? We can say the same thing about what we do in real estate. When we have lots of things that we got our fingers on the pulse of, right? We have so many different avenues that we're managing. And just imagine if you were just able to get 1% better in each of these areas. Now you might say, Jim, what are the areas that I should be focused on having some aggregation of marginal gains? Well, one of those areas, I'm going to give you actually 5. I call them the 5 points of power. And one of those areas is, of course, lead generation, as you would expect. Lead generation. Now, just as I'm talking, I want you to be measuring yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on these 5 points of power. Lead generation, number 1. Advising clients, number 2. Number 3 is your sphere management. Do you really have control of your sphere? Number 4 is your service delivery. Are you delivering high-level service to your clients when you do begin working with them? And the 5th one is your organizational systems. Now, how do you rate yourself 1 to 10 on that scale? 1 being you are really, really terrible. You suck. And 10 being you're godlike. You should be training other people to do this. Where do you rate yourself on that scale? For most people, when I coach them, we'll hear people say, oh, I'm a 6 or 7 in most categories, maybe even a 5 or a 4 in some categories. No one I've ever coached says I'm a 10 on everything. So if you're not a 10 on everything, that means you have an opportunity to get better and to adjust and to improve your business. And really focusing on your business in those 5 key categories is where you're going to have massive success. I'm going to give you a little bit of coaching, a little snippet of coaching in each of these 5 categories right now today. If you're taking a note, here's a good time to do it. Number 1, lead generation. When you're out in the field and you're talking to people, one key question that we need to begin to get in the habit of asking everybody we ever come into contact with is this key question, which is, can I ask you a question? I'm a realtor. Can I ask you, what is your housing situation? And just let people talk. They're a renter, they're a homeowner, they've lived somewhere for so many years, they'd like to do this, that, or the other. Then you can get into, hey, well, tell me about your dream home. If you could live anywhere, in any place, in any kind of home, what would that look like for you? And you just get into conversation. What's your housing situation? Tell me about your dream home. It'll open up opportunities that you won't believe just with those couple of questions. Here's another one. Advising clients. Now, right now, we're in a frenzy market where everything we put on the market sells instantaneously almost. But that market will change, and we will have to get back to really advising sellers about what it's going to take to get their home sold. And some sellers, even today, are going to start to get greedy and want to overprice their properties. We got to rein them back because we use this statement. And this is part of advising clients and getting better at advising clients, which is, hey, I think what we have to decide when we put any house on the market, yours or anyone else's, is do you want to list the property or do you want to sell the property? Because there's a huge difference between the two. And here's what I can tell you is that your neighbor down the road just listed their property. They didn't really want to sell it. That's why it's still on the market. It's been on the market for 6 months. You see, that's great language. Where do you learn great sales language? From great training, great coaching, great skill building. Okay, another one, sphere management. One thing you should be doing with your sphere of influence every single day is have your CRM open. And of course, as a great agent, you've got CRM that you're using in your business. Your CRM's open and on your desktop or on your phone at all times. And when you are making calls, here's the magic. You take notes about each conversation and then you flag, here's the key, flag for next contact. So when I get off the phone, I'm not just saying, great, I did my duty today. No. I'm going to flag for next contact. I'm going to say when I'm going to talk to these people again, and I'm going to make a note about what I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to put the conversation in for what I want to cover in the next time we have contact, the next time we have communication. And it may not be a phone call. It could be a text, could be a letter, could be an email, could be many different things, but I'm flagging when that's going to happen, right? So that is the sphere management. Here's another one, service delivery. Service delivery. One thing I want to get in my checklist of things that I'm doing, right? We have checklists, we have systems in our business, is making sure I'm ahead of the client when a listing launches. So the listing goes live in MLS, which means it flows over to your website, which means it flows over to Zillow and over to Realtor.com and Homes.com. I want to send my client all those links and say, hey, great news, our listing launched today. Here's all the places you can find it. By the way, if you see anything that is a red flag for you, anything you don't like, make sure you let me know immediately. I'll get it corrected as soon as possible. Now, this is putting you together in a partnership, so you're both working together. Where it'll become adversarial is if the client has to go out and find their own properties, and then they find something wrong, and now they're angry and coming at you about it. We've all experienced that from time to time. I want to be ahead of the curve in service delivery. I want to be in front of my client, not behind my client. I want to be driving the train. I don't want to be the passenger, right? Next and last is organizational systems. Looking at your entire business, we could slice it up like a loaf of bread. And we can say, well, buyer management's one section. My listing presentation and seller management's another section. Closing transactions, follow-up, incubation. There's so many different areas of our business. But if I just slice it like a loaf of bread and say, okay, here's one slice that I want to tackle. I want to build a system around that slice of my business and focus on that and really get mastery over it. That's the way you'll create predictable success that you can replicate and scale up, right? We can't scale if we don't have systems. So taking a look at, here's an example of that. Just one quick example is, if you just sat down today and wrote down 5 things you should do every time you meet a buyer for the first time, what would those 5 things be? As soon as you've written that down, you've created a system. Now you just need to follow that system every time you're meeting a buyer for the first time. And doing that every single area of your business will have a transformation of effects for your business. So if you like what you're hearing and you want to take it to the next level, I'd love to have you jump over to eRealEstateCoach.com and check out the Path Performance Coaching. We've developed over there an intense coaching platform for people who really want to excel, who really want to go to the next level. It starts with 16 weeks of intensive lead generation coaching every single day for 16 weeks. And then from there, we give you 3 live coaching sessions every single week so that we're really keeping you at the top of your game, giving you all the fresh, new, great ideas that we're hearing from across the country. And then we pair that with downloads, instant action downloads you can use in the field, hundreds and hundreds of text scripts, emails, drip campaigns, presentations, you name it, Excel spreadsheets that you can use in your business in real time. You can download it, instant action, plug and play materials, then marketing materials and technology where you can track your activities against your goal set on a daily basis, all included, one of the lowest cost, most affordable coaching programs in the country. And I'm going to give you the first 2 weeks for free just to try it out, just to check it out with your business and see if it's a good fit for you. So check it out over at eRealEstateCoach.com. Check out the Path Performance Coaching. We'll see you next time right here. Have a great day.